Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, October 16th. On today's show, Finemark Bank will share information about the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC. McKenzie Millis reveals the 10 questions that determine if assisted living is right for you. And our newest fitness instructor, Craig Norling, introduces us to a balance class that's perfect for people in assisted living or independent living. But first, we're midway through October, which means you should prepare your stomach for some bratwurst and sauerkraut. Oktoberfest is coming to Shell Point, tonight at the Crystal Room. You'll enjoy the best of German food, decor, and live musical entertainment. It all happens from 4 to 7 p.m. in the Crystal Room on the island. And if you can't get enough bratwurst, liverwurst, and whatever worst, then make plans to go on the Shell Point dinner trip to the Austrian-German Pavilion. Located next to the Broadway Palm, the Austrian-German Pavilion delivers the best and most authentic German cuisine around. This trip leaves on Tuesday, October 29th, with court pickups starting at 4:30 p.m. Sign up for your spot by calling the Island Service Desk at 454-2282 or the Woodlands Service Desk at 454-2054. Today, there is also a very important Academy event called Suddenly Single. If you've ever worried what would happen to you or your spouse if one of you should pass away, then you need to attend this seminar. The Legacy Foundation and Finemark Bank have joined forces to present Suddenly Single this morning at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Finemark Bank now has a word about financial instability. In the last 10 years, we've witnessed banks rise and fall, and even the federal government shut down. But if you have money in a bank, you cannot lose 1 cent. It's because of the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. If your bank is FDIC insured, then even if it goes belly up, you're covered for up to $250,000. How does the FDIC work? Tiffany Williams of Finemark Bank tells us more in this Finemark Minute.
Hello, I'm Tiffany Williams, Managing Executive for Finemark National Bank and Trust on the island. In today's Finemark Minute, we're reviewing what's covered under the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. We've had a lot of people ask us about the limit changing at the end of this year. The limit was raised from $100,000 to $250,000 in 2008. It was set to revert back this coming December, but the federal government has since permanently boosted the bank deposit insurance to $250,000. This should ease a lot of concerns. The FDIC is an independent agency of the U.S. government that protects the funds depositors place in banks and savings associations. FDIC insurance is backed by the U.S. government, and no depositor has ever lost a single cent of FDIC insured funds. FDIC insurance covers all deposit accounts, including checking and savings, money market deposit accounts, and certificates of deposit. FDIC insurance does not cover stocks, bonds, mutual fund shares, life insurance policies, annuities, or securities. The standard insurance amount is $250,000 per depositor per insured bank. However, there are ways to have more of your money protected. Depositors may qualify for additional coverage if they have funds in different ownership categories. For example, if you have a revocable trust account or make an account payable on death, coverage limits are $250,000 per owner per beneficiary, up to 5 beneficiaries. If you'd like to learn more about FDIC coverage, feel free to stop by Finemark on the island or give us a call at 461-5999. I'm Tiffany Williams with today's Finemark Minute.
One of the most vital fitness classes we offer at Shell Point is the Balance and Mobility class. Residents who take these balance classes strengthen the muscles that keep them upright, decreasing the chance for a disastrous fall or other medical emergency. If you are an absolute newcomer to classes like these, then we've got the perfect intro for you. It's called Balance Basics. It's perfect for those in assisted living or those who just need a slower paced class. Balance Basics begins next Monday at 1 p.m. in the community room of the King's Crown. We found out more from our newest fitness instructor, Craig Norling.
I'm Mary Franklin here with Craig Norling, Fitness Coordinator. We are talking about a Health Connections program titled Balance Basics at Assisted Living. It's going to run October 21st through December 11th, meeting every Monday and Wednesday in between those dates from 1 to 1:30. They'll be meeting in the King's Crown Community Room, and the cost is $80 for the 8-week session. So what can one expect when they sign up for Balance Basics at Assisted Living?
Well, in this one, it's a little bit slower pace. We do a lot of stuff sitting down, but we still focus on strengthening everything from your feet all the way up to your upper body, and a lot of stability, again, from your feet all the way up.
And this class is for anyone who's feeling a little challenged in the balance area and aren't quite ready for balance level 1 or 2. Anybody can go to this class, correct?
Correct.
And also, this class is for 30 minutes, so you cover for 30 minutes. It's a little bit shorter than the regular class. Well, this is a great class being offered here at Shell Point. It's Balance Basics at Assisted Living, meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays, October 21st through December 11th. The whole series costs $80, and it's held in the King's Crown Community Room. And once again, it's available for the entire Shell Point population. I'm Mary Franklin with Craig Norling. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Assisted living is one of those things that we always hear about, but we often don't like to talk about. It also tends to be one of those decisions that is made too late. Once you move in, you think, I should have done this years ago. Well, we've got some events coming that will help you make the best decision possible. Rita Southern and her staff are holding a breakfast tour of King's Crown, so you can get all your questions answered and enjoy a free breakfast, and personally tour through all the facilities. The breakfast tour at King's Crown happens next Tuesday, October 22nd at 10 a.m. And the Arbor is also hosting a breakfast tour on October 29th at 9 a.m. To sign up for either event, call our assisted living hotline at 454-2077. Now again, many times it's hard for us to gauge exactly how independent we are. That's why our assisted living staff have set up 10 questions that you can ask yourself to find out if assisted living might be a good option for you. We asked McKenzie Millis to take us through these 10 questions.
Hi everybody, it's Jared Pike here with Shell Point TV, and today we're talking about assisted living. And with me is Shell Point's assisted living specialist, McKenzie Millis. How are you, McKenzie?
I'm good, Jared.
And assisted living is a big topic at Shell Point because we have 3 assisted living facilities. But talk about the decision to move into assisted living. Who is it led by?
It's definitely individual. It's a matter of when is it right for you. We never want to see an assisted living decision made in the midst of a crisis. We really want residents to be proactive in making that move to improve their quality of life.
So it's a good thing, but when do you move? And it's a personal decision for everybody.
It is. One of the things that we've done is we really have tried to educate residents to understand what is assisted living and then give themselves some questions to ask to help them determine when should I be thinking about it? And is that decision maybe in the near future, or do I have some time and it's not something I need to worry about today?
Well, I happen to have those questions right here. There are 10 questions, and we want people to ask themselves these questions. We'll just go through them one at a time. Number 1, do you have a fear of falling and worry there will be no one there to help? Now, this is a concern?
It is. It's definitely a concern. One of the nice things about independent living is residents have that emergency pull cord. So they can pull in the case of emergency, whether it's a fall or any kind of health crisis. But a lot of the concerns come into, if I was to fall and I can't reach that, how long am I going to be on the floor for? How am I going to know that? What is the response time going to be in terms of an emergency? And in assisted living, it's a much smaller and precise response time because we have staff in the building 24 hours a day to help.
And they're always checking up. That's wonderful. Number 2, do you forget to take your medications? Now, medications are a big deal for people.
They are. And the second question I always ask is not only do you forget to take your medications, but do you know what each one of your medications is for? With the healthcare system today, it's very important for residents to be proactive in caring for their health. And part of that is knowing what you are taking and when you're taking it and why. And if you're finding yourself slipping a little bit, there's great news. Assisted living and the nurses in our assisted living facilities can help with that, whether it's pill box or nurse administration of medications.
That's great. That's great. Number 3, do you struggle getting ready in the morning? This is a big one.
It is, and it's kind of a two-part. It's energy management. How much time are you spending with kind of the chores of the day, that grind of getting ready? Are you finding the activities calendar on a daily basis? You're choosing the activities that start a little bit later in the day because you just can't make it to that 9 o'clock fitness class or that 10 a.m. educational program. In assisted living, we've got staff that can help you.
Number 4, do you feel lonely or depressed? So the emotional factor plays in.
The emotional factor definitely plays in, and it's also related to that. If you're struggling a little bit, you're probably not getting out and about as easily as you used to. In assisted living, we have a full-time activities leader that plans enough programming that you can stay active in the assisted living building, but you still have the whole Shell Point community available to you.
It's impossible to be lonely in those assisted living facilities. Number 5, is your home less clean and tidy than it used to be? Interesting.
Yes, and are the dishes and the laundry becoming a burden? Those are things that we often find. With the housekeeping that's provided by Shell Point, you get a little bit of assistance, but the laundry and the dishes are the two that we often find as the areas that people struggle to keep up with. Or for couples, maybe one person used to be the primary provider of those services, and now because of health roles, the situation's changed, and now someone else is being responsible. We take all of that burden away with assisted living services, and then we can add to it by also making your bed on a daily basis, which is
that would be wonderful. I would love to take advantage of that. Number 6, do you fear losing your balance in the shower? Now tell us about that.
You know, it's a scary thing, even if you haven't fallen. If you're unsteady on your feet, often getting out of bed in the middle of the night with no one there to help and getting in and out of the shower are the most difficult portions of the day. And often, if you have had a fear, that fear of refalling, or you know the statistics against falling and how dangerous they are for seniors, that it really, people find themselves not showering as frequently as they used to. And that's a shame, because it's such an important thing of personal hygiene and dignity that we want residents to be able to get the care they need, even if it requires a little bit of more support than they have previously needed.
And assisted living can provide as much or as little support as a person needs.
Yes.
Number 7, have you been losing weight or experienced a decrease in appetite? Now, this is one people might not have thought about.
No, and often people don't think about it, and it's such an important thing. Not only is medications one of the main reasons we see people move into assisted living, but it's the dining. In assisted living, having 3 meals per day provided to you is a huge resource. Rita Southern, our director of assisted living, has always referred to it as the tea and toast. A lot of times, seniors, to make it easy for themselves, will take what they used to love as far as this wide variety of fruits and vegetables and meats, and they'll start sacrificing that for convenience and energy management, and all of a sudden they don't realize it, but they've been eating tea and toast for way too many meals in a row. And once they get to assisted living, they're able to have all of those options available to them.
And I've been in those assisted living facilities. There's food on every corner. You can't pass by without a snack being there, which is great. Number 8, do you find it uncomfortable to drive, or are others concerned about your driving?
Yeah, and that's not to say that when you move into assisted living you give up your car by any means, so I don't want people to be confused by this one. But if you are finding yourself struggling a little bit, or you find that others are concerned about your driving, you might really find it beneficial to have things like meals taken care of, to have your doctor's appointments coordinated. And that takes away some of the necessity in driving, but then when you are driving, it can be for more leisure and recreational features. But the other side of it is Shell Point has an amazing transportation system. So I would encourage any resident to use that to their liking.
So you keep your independence, just all the hassles
we take care of.
Get taken care of. I love it. Number 9, have you stopped attending many of the social activities you once loved? Now, you've seen this?
Yes, very much so. We often say isolation is the enemy of positive aging, and it is such a key thing to keeping us motivated, to keeping us happy, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And socialization can provide all of those things. and our activities leaders really help us to make sure that that's taken care of.
It's taking care of mind, body, and spirit,
Yes.
we'll call it. Number 10, have you had a recent hospitalization? Now, this is just a simple one.
Yeah, it really is a simple one. And what I always ask people to say is, okay, so you've had a recent hospitalization. Now, would that situation have been different if you had been living in assisted living? Would the response time have been quicker? Would it have been less stressful? And most importantly, is there any chance it could have been prevented? Often we'll find that people will end up in the hospital, not proper nutrition, not taking medications properly. And it's a real shame to see because it's something that might have been prevented. So that's always a really important one to look at.
So there's your 10 questions. And if you have these concerns, if these are coming up for you in your life, then it may be time to ask yourself, assisted living can provide all these needs. Now, the best way to learn about assisted living is to call your case manager. Now, if you don't know your case manager, you can always call Resident Support Services at 454-2299 to find out more. Take advantage of it, folks, because you can improve your life and your independence at the same time with assisted living. So for ShellPoint TV, this is Jared Pike.
Again, if you have any questions about assisted living or would like to sign up for the free breakfast tours coming up, just call our assisted living hotline at 454-2077. Now it's time to cover all of Wednesday's happenings from Resort Services. Then stay tuned for your Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Are you ready for the list of activities today? I am. Are you?
I am.
All right, let's get started. At 7:45 a.m., the Men's Bible Study Group will be meeting in the Osprey Room on the island. And the tennis courts will be busy with round-robin men's doubles tennis players at 9 a.m. And if you enjoy watercolor, Phil Hilton will be gathering his group together in the art studio at 9. And Scrapbooking Group is a wonderful group that is newly formed, and they meet at 9:15 this morning in the Tarpon Room. 10 a.m. is the time for Ladies Bible Study Group gathering in the Osprey Room. And back to 10:15 with Model Yacht Sailing Club gathering in the Commons Lake at the Woodlands. Neuropathy Support Group has their monthly meeting today at 11 o'clock in the Oak Room. And 11:30, Health Connections Agility and Flexibility will be meeting in the Health Club on the island. Bev, take away the afternoon activities.
Well, Mary, we've got a busy afternoon today. We're going to start it with 1 o'clock chess. That'll be played in the Library Lounge on the island. From 1:30 to 3:30, the train room is open for tours. We move to 1:45 where we have a Health Connections class. This one is Balance and Mobility Training Level 1. That'll be in the Health Club that's currently full. At 2:15, Knitters Anonymous will be busy in the Osprey Room. At 2:30, it's time for Jazz and Stuff, so head to the Grand Cypress Room for our concert if you would like to enjoy some good music. At 3 o'clock, we have the Bible study in the King's Crown Community Room. Also at 3 o'clock, we have a Health Connections class. This is Pilates Stretch. That'll be down in the Health Club. Our last 3 o'clock activity is Memory Care Group. They'll be on the 3rd floor craft room at King's Crown. You do need to sign up in advance. Lilly and Company Jewelers will be here at 4 o'clock for their weekly jewelry service, and that'll be in the Egret room down in the Resident Activity Center. And then we move to 4 o'clock where we have Oktoberfest at the Crystal Room. Make sure you get out for dinner this night. 4 to 7 o'clock that'll be going on. At 4:30 we have indoor bocce. That'll be set up in the Health Club on the island. 5:45 is time. The church choir rehearsal will be going on at the Village Church. 7:15 we have prayer and praise, and that's the last activity for today. Well, we're so glad you joined us today, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Terry Koleth with your Academy information for Wednesday. At 10 o'clock, the Lomography class continues in the Sabal Room of the Woodlands. Also at 10 o'clock, the Legacy Seminar number 2, Suddenly Single, Part 2, will take place at the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. All are welcome, but please sign up at either service desk. At 10:15, a technology class, iPad note-taking and drawing apps. This will meet in the Manatee Room on the island, and sign-up is required. At 1 o'clock, so you've got Windows 8. Now, what are you going to do with it? We'll continue in the Computer Center at the Woodlands. At 1 o'clock, Intermediate Bridge Session 1 continues in the game room at the Woodlands, and also at 1 o'clock, Color, Color, Color continues in the Sabal Room at the Woodlands. At 1:45, Internet Prep School, Help and Support continues in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. Tomorrow we have 2 new classes in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Caravaggio, The Man, the Art, the Mind, with Dottie Megan. And Mah Jongg Basics Session 2 begins with Mac Nichols and Karen Lieberless of Eagles Preserve and Mary Jane Atkinson of Parkwood as your instructors.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is beef chili in a bread bowl. For dinner, it's the Oktoberfest dinner buffet, and the soup of the day is chicken Florentine. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Wednesday, enjoy a seafood schooner on an English muffin with chips for $7.25. The dinner special is fried shrimp for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Wednesday are sea bass for $15.95 or stuffed chicken breast for $13.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, I'm Dottie Morrison, and I'm here with Carol Henry to invite you to a special event on Sunday night, October 20th at the Village Church. Oh, Carol, that coffee smells wonderful. But I'm not used to such tiny cups. Tell me about this.
This is Turkish coffee, Dottie, and it's very strong. And I brought it along because I want to talk to you about a particular culture that uses this Turkish coffee.
Which culture is it?
It's the culture of Kosovo. Kosovo is a country that we remember well from the war that was there several years ago. It's a country that is 80% Albanian in ethnicity, and of that 80%, 90% of that Albanian population was displaced during that war. I want to talk especially about the women because they're the ones that offer the hospitality in homes.
Okay, so now if you and I were having coffee in America, we'd be talking about kids or schools or gossiping or whatever. What happens in Kosovo when women have coffee?
When women have coffee, they talk about the same things. They do. They talk about all those kind of family issues. They also talk about serious issues. One of the things that they talk about as a bit of gossip may be how clean their neighbor keeps their home. Cleanliness is a very important value, and the women are in charge of that. So the women who actually are the keepers of the heritage and the culture in the home are the ones that are in charge of maintaining those traditions.
Now, you mentioned the Civil War. They've gone through communism. Their country has been split up several times, and there's been a lot of tension between the Albanians, the Serbs, and who's in charge. How does that affect them personally, and how are we going to get involved in that?
It affects them personally because every family has been affected. The deeper topics that they might also be talking about are issues like alcoholism and PTSD and things like that that affect every family. There may be 2 or 3 families living under the same roof, so there are a lot of pressures on a family. There are pressures on this young wife that might be there.
And do they have resources? Do they have counselors? Do they have ways of learning?
They have very few resources, if any at all.
Really?
In this country, we have so many resources.
We do.
We have therapy sessions, trained counselors, the TV shows that have all of these kind of self-help things, books, all those. But Dottie, if you could think of a situation where you wouldn't even be able to find a book in your own language that has to do with helping someone through crisis or lay counseling, something like that.
You know, when the Haitian earthquake happened, Don Steinhook and other counselors from the United States went there on 2 separate visits, and they found that they first had to counsel the pastors and the leaders who normally you would expect to be the people to help their congregations. They needed help with post-traumatic stress disorder and all the loss they'd had and the grief. And then they went back and were training them to help others. So in many, many countries, there are just not the resources we have.
That's exactly right. What we're going to be doing with the Alliance Women's National Project this year is that we are going to help them by publishing a book called Kitchen Table Counseling. Then we will bring authors of that book and have a conference for women in the 35 Christian churches that we work with in Kosovo, which is a country that's 90% Muslim, as you probably know.
So this is sort of the beginning of a way that lay women
Yes.
can learn how to do some lay counseling,
Yes.
Mentor other women
Right.
over the coffee table.
Over the coffee table. I mentioned that coffee is such an important part of the hospitality tradition.
Yeah.
Every morning, the women stop at 10 o'clock and go to each other's homes and have coffee and talk about their lives, and it's a perfect place for people to make connections and get into some of those deeper things.
And then I assume there'll be deeper training for some people.
There will be deeper training for 12 women who will then be called mental health facilitators. They will be women trained to observe and not diagnose, but know when a person needs some more specialized care. So then there will also be the third part of the project, which will be that of a scholarship offered to a mental health professional, an Albanian woman, a believer, who will then be brought to the States or somewhere in the West to give her special training. And she will go back to Kosovo and be the person in charge of that whole project.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a big project, it's a big need, and we're hoping that we can be a part of it by not only praying and our donations, which will fund the translation of the book, which will then be aired on the radio in Albanian for many people who don't read or don't have access to the book, and the training of these lay counselors, and then specialized training for a mental health professional.
So, on Sunday night, October 20th, 6:15, I understand we're going to have coffee.
We are going to have
at the
coffee.
church, so we can come and learn over coffee about how coffee can have a huge impact on the needs of people in this country, in Kosovo.
Exactly right, and you're going to hear some great speakers and have some special surprises as well, so we look forward to that evening together.
So come join us Sunday night, October 20th, 6:15 in the Village Church, and find out over coffee how you can be involved in helping the women of Kosovo.
We're glad you've joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we talk about math anxiety. Did you not like math class as a kid? Dick Brown knows where you're coming from, and he can help. Also, we'll meet Ann Wills of Teledora, who once worked at the Hershey Museum in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Chocolate Town, USA. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, October 16th. I'm Dan Philgreen, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you again tomorrow.